Hello, my dears. Welcome to Lady McCreepsta's Night Noise Horror Podcast. In this amazing age of connectivity, the world and even adjacent realms have become closer than ever. However, even though it is now easier than ever to reach out and meet new people, it may also be harder to figure out if they are indeed who they claim to be. Today's tale is the first part of a series by Redditor Lil Chilty. And it is not the story that you think it is. Come now, my dears. Lean in closer and we'll begin. Let me just clarify what this is not. This is not the story of my friend lying to me for 5 years. This is not your run-of-the-mill case of catfishing, which I had suspected at first. This is something much bigger, and after today, I'm genuinely scared for his life, as well as mine. This friend, let's call him Noah, was never great with girls. He's kind of a nice guy, super awkward, and the only reason we were close for so long is because I came out to him as a lesbian sometime in the 9th grade. Otherwise, there's no doubt he would have tried to pursue me romantically. He was pretty desperate for love, up until when we were in our early 20s, 5-ish years ago, before he met her. I feel like it means nothing to say he was big into gaming, because who isn't nowadays? Specifically, he was into these, Facebook fantasy games. I don't even know what they are exactly. I think they're like shit-quality RPGs that people play for free if they can't afford to subscribe to World of Warcraft. I used to get game requests from him every day. Luckily, you can just block those, so I did. Anyway, this one game he used to play had a chat function which a lot of people used to meet people. It's really not that weird. I have other friends that have met hookups in a similar fashion. I was actually pretty happy for him when he told me about this girl. I'll call her Clara. At least he had someone to talk to, even though the girl was from Ohio, which is about a 7-hour drive from us. Red flags started popping up pretty early, though. Out of curiosity, I looked at Clara's Facebook profile, and it was immediately suspicious to me. It's not like she seemed out of his league or anything. It looked like the kind of girl he would date. Choppy purple pixie cut, face piercings, a collarbone tattoo of a pokeball, a light dusting of acne on her pale skin. Anime convention type of girl. Definitely his type. What got to me was, she uploaded a number of pictures with her in it, but there were no tags for any of the other people in the photos. They had also been uploaded all at the same time. Most of the friends she had, and the only likes or comments on her pictures and posts were, guys that seemed to have an intimate relationship with her. A lot of comments like, "There's my beautiful girl," a lot of flirting with that dumbass number 3 face, nothing to do with the occasion or the other people in the picture. They were all about her. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything. Did I make him dig his heels in further? I was just looking out for him and his heart, I guess. I pointed this out to Noah, but he was having none of it. He showed me that all of the comments dated back to before they started talking, and there was no overlap either. He said there was no way this girl would cheat on him, or anyone, that she was really sweet, just flirty, and truly loved him. I mentioned the other stuff that was weird, but he snapped back that I was just looking for things to not like about her and being overprotective. He was pretty upset. My next thought was that maybe this was a profile for cheating, Like, she was with someone, but she needed this in order to lure men into getting with her on the side. It seemed like something people do. I told my then girlfriend and current wife, and she suggested reverse image searching a few of her photos to see if they showed up anywhere else. Besides Clara's profile, all the photos traced back to social media accounts of someone named Erica from Fort Lauderdale. But when I went to click on the links, it came up as this page does not exist. Like she had deleted everything. Even though Noah was mad at me for trying to talk some sense into him, I gave it one last shot. I texted him about what I had found, hoping that this would convince him that something was up. He didn't say anything for a day or so. Then he sent me a novel to explain why it wasn't weird at all and how over the line I was. Apparently, Clara had a very abusive ex-boyfriend who was stalking her, so she had legally changed her name, moved away, and basically deleted her old profiles off the internet. Fearing that he might be able to find her somehow through mutual friends, she decided not to add anyone on her new Facebook that she actually knew in real life. She was obsessed with those stupid games too, and she wanted to meet people, especially romantic prospects, since she was pretty lonely. The pictures were to show her online friends what she looked like and to prove that she hung out with other people at some point and wasn't just a hermit with no life or social skills. He told me that he didn't appreciate me prying into their relationship and that he had told Clara about what I said and she didn't want me to talk to him anymore, and he had agreed to it. The last thing he said to me was, "Just in case you're still hung up on this, here's a picture of us FaceTiming." Sure enough, the screenshot showed him video chatting with the girl from the profile. Same hair, same face piercings, same tattoo. She looked normal, just kind of tired. Before I could say anything or apologize, he blocked me. And that was it for a while. I wasn't impressed with how defensive and shitty he had been, and although I figured she was probably using him in some way, I just let it be. He blocked me in every way he possibly could anyway, pretty much every form of communication. So did Clara, so I couldn't see her Facebook page anymore. I had my own things going on, so I just moved past it. I moved away, got a job, got married, and all was well. We grew up in a small town, so one day, when I went back to visit a few months ago, I ran into his mother at the one grocery store we have. We chatted for a while about how things were going with me, and she seemed very friendly and happy. Then I asked her about Noah. Her entire expression changed. She looked so sad. She told me that the same year we had our falling out, Noah decided on a whim to quit his job and go live with Clara somewhere in Ohio, about 7 hours away, and he never came back. He was upset that his mom had been so disapproving of this, so he also blocked her in any way possible, and only communicated with an occasional brief email from time to time to tell her how he was doing. She blamed herself for being too overbearing. He wouldn't even tell her their address because he was afraid she would try to come find them. I felt really bad for her. I almost ran away from home in high school because my parents didn't approve of me being gay, but once they realized I was serious about leaving, they said they could work past it as long as it meant I was home. I knew this wasn't exactly the same thing, but it was clear to me she was pretty hurt. I asked her for his email, thinking maybe I could try to reach out to him. Before I fell asleep, I typed up and sent an email telling him I was sorry for being so presumptuous, that I hoped he and Clara were happy, and that he should consider visiting home sometime. The next day, to my surprise, I got an email back from him. This is what it said. Thanks for reaching out to me after all this time. Clara and I are doing very well. I would come back to Virginia, but I just have too much going on here. You know how it is. But do tell my mom that I'm thinking about her. I hope that life is treating you well. Best, Noah. I felt a little bit of closure, I guess. At least he was happy. It seemed strange that he had nothing else to say, although perhaps Clara still harbored some bitterness towards me, and he didn't want to test that. It was an acceptable conclusion for me. Until today. My wife travels a lot. Usually she winds up in Texas, but this week she had to fly out to a small city about an hour away from Columbus, Ohio. She's mostly been sending me I miss you texts and pictures of her doing touristy things, but today she sent me something that made my blood run cold. It was a mugshot of a woman severely abused and emaciated, with most of her teeth and half of her hair gone. My wife told me it had appeared on the local news on TV, and she immediately recognized some of the facial features, as well as the Pokeball tattoo on her collarbone. It's Clara. After panicking for a straight minute, I read the full story. Apparently, they found her walking through the streets early this morning, looking like she had just been beaten badly. She was in shock and mumbling random things and sobbing. The police took her in immediately, but they couldn't get any useful information from her. She seemed to have suffered from extreme trauma or had taken illicit drugs. Either way, she couldn't form coherent sentences. Identifying her had also been futile. Her fingers had been severely burned, so they can't trace her fingerprints. I immediately contacted the police with everything I knew, and they said they're going to be launching a full-scale investigation. It will have to be as discreet as possible, though, for fear that the perpetrators will go to extreme measures to cover up their crimes, or even flee from the area. They even took down all the media coverage right after I called. They've offered to fly me and Noah's mother out there so they can talk to us in person, since we're the only people who seem to know much about it. I realize there's no going back, and I have to go, but I am absolutely horrified of whatever is behind this. I got a call about an hour ago from the police station. They told me that Clara is still in pretty bad shape, and she still couldn't answer their questions. But they did say that she kept repeating the same thing over and over and over. My name is Erica. How very intriguing. This is the first part of a series, so be sure to subscribe to this podcast and channel. If you are watching on YouTube, be sure to click on that bell icon as well, so that you get notified when the next part is uploaded. If you would like to become a part of my dark family on Patreon and potentially receive discounts on my Dungeon Essentials, what some mortals call merchandise, as well as other goodies, go to patreon.com/LadyMcCreepster. That's all for this evening, my lovelies. Thank you for visiting me. I'll see you soon.